The article started out in New York, the New York Post or New York Times, and now it has matriculated all throughout, I guess, the country. So I looked at Washington Post and a couple of the places to where the article was written, and the longest one was in Washington Post. So I'm thinking, didn't Jeff Bezos buy Washington Post? What are you trying to normalize? All right. So the article, so the off Broadway used a lot of flavor, flavorful verbiage to take a dark subject and put tulips and daisies on it. That's my take. Now I'll put the article in the subscription description box. You read it and then you tell me what you see what you get out of it. Just see what you get out of it. But let me tackle a couple of parts that just floored me, and and it's and it's scaring me just the way the world is going, to where children will not be protected because now there's a push to normalize and to have sympathy for people that like Pedialyte. And they come up with names and categories and changing it from what it really is and try to normalize it as this is a normal attraction. Nothing normal about it. So, Bruce Norris off Broadway work is tough. It's tough stuff. Questioningly how society treats those convicted of heinous acts. You're putting it so kind, Mr. Marks. So the first two paragraphs are just okay. It starts out New York. Take a deep breath and try to ruminate calmly on the position playwright Bruce Norris takes on his scintillating playwright Downstate, that the punishment inflicted on some Pedialyte are so harsh and unrelenting as to be humane. Okay. Okay. Are you still reading? It is almost impossible to broad brush the perspective at the heart of this impeccably acted drama without sounding as if one is advocating some extraordinary level of consideration for individuals who have committed unspeakable crimes. And yet, Norris proposes the variation of this proposition at off Broadway playwrights' horizon. He is questioning what degree of compassion should society fairly hold out to those who have served their time for S abuse, assault, and grape juice. You can't make this up. You can't. You can't. You can't. You. Now, just on those two paragraphs alone, it makes you question one's sanity of one, why even the play? What is one supposed to gain from this play? Two, why all the flavorful verbiage? It's wonderful writing, wonderful. Marx did a great job in trying to knock down some social norms just by saying all these wonderful things to have people look at people that do these horrific things, especially to children, and saying, hey, stop and take a look at how they're being treated, how these people, they did their time. And because they did their time, we ought to question of what degree of compassion should we give them. That's a quote. What degree of compassion should we give them? Should society fairly hold out those who have served their time for these crimes? Why not ask the people who went through the horrors that these people inflicted upon them? Ask them and ask them, should they? Just a thought. Just a thought. Here's another thing. Downstate directed with exceptional astuteness by Cam McKinnon, seized in our reflexive responses to these crimes and shift our emotional focus to the perpetrators living together in a group home in downstate Illinois, their movements monitored electronically, and their windows broken by irate vandals. Four of diverse age and backgrounds eke out marginal existence in menial jobs and managed routines. The house is like an island whose shores are washed with waves of contempt. Any protest or request is treated by their haired co-worker Ivy, played with brittle cynicism as Suzanne Guzman, as that of passengers in a steerage daring to ask for clean blankets. Okay. For human beings, and to ask for clean blankets should be a simple request, and it should not be looked down upon. Okay, I get it. But there's a reason why that they're living together in a group home in downstate Illinois, their movements monitored electronically. There is a reason for that. And it's not as if what they did was something that they can recover from. They can go through some kind of therapy to where they no longer have those desires or an act to continue doing things, something of these sorts. My main thing is, what are you trying to normalize, Mr. Marx? What are you trying to normalize? Let me do another paragraph. Norris, who won a Pulitzer Prize for Clyburn Park, a bracingly funny play about race and gentrification inspired by a raisin in the sun, goes here for another societal jugular. And his provocative efforts result in one of the best theater evening of the year. Its pre-COVID premiere occurred in 2018 Steppenwolf Theater in Norris's hometown, Chicago. Clyburn. Now, you're talking about race and class. And to juxtapose that with Pedialyte, assault, in grape juice. Interesting. Interesting. Just interesting. Okay, there's something else that I wanted to. Now, I thought this was interesting. I went a little further down in the article. There are several paragraphs, and I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'm just going to give you. There is no sweeping under threadbare rug, in downstate, of the heinous offenses for which the men have been severely punished. We learn about each of each of them. We learn about what each of them has done, and we are in effect asked to judge for ourselves what magnitude of ongoing torment each deserves. It develops here an agonizing moral question. One that our that one that our retributive correctional culture would rather have done or rather have to debate. And it is made even thornier by the drama's most disagreeable character, a victim of Fred's, now grown up and portrayed all too iratingly well by by Tim Hopper. I get the angle. I get it. When he says we learn about what each of them has done, and we are in effect asked to judge for ourselves the magnitude of the ongoing torment each deserves. That was a well-placed statement to poke at you. Now, what are you trying to normalize? And if you go to the end, this is what really gets me. I'm wondering what is in this reporter or this writer's mind that put the article in. And just really, really listen, just listen to this. And it is made even thornier by the drama's most disagreeable character, a victim of Fred's, now grown up and portrayed all too irritatingly well by Hopper. Now, the boy that was abused comes back and confronts the man. Now, he's portrayed by being disagreeable. Interesting choice of words. Disagreeable to the people that are there, the guys that are there that have done these horrendous acts. But the boy, now a young man, comes to confront the guy that did these terrible things to him because he was too young to even understand what happened to him. But now that he's an adult and has an understanding, he's irritating. He's his disagreeable character. Again, what are you trying to normalize? That's my whole not hide his scorn for Andy, who has made a successful life for himself as a Chicago finance guy, and now seems intent on some kind of purging reunion with the man who molested him as a child on a piano bench. The meeting seems to be a part of Andy's therapy, which downstate implies may be advisable, but at this point also suggests it is an indulgent, marinating in self pity. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. That last sentence speaks it all throughout the whole entire article. You can take that last sentence and start the very beginning and rewrite it, saying the meeting seems to be a part of Andy's therapy, which downstate implies may be advisable, but at this point, also suggesting it is an indulgent marinating in self-pity. This young boy that had these horrible things happen to him, and for him to come here with this self-pity again. What are you trying to normalize? That's what I would like to know. What are you trying to normalize? And Jeff Bezos, this is your newspaper. What are you allowing out there? Just a question. What do you think?